Hello and welcome to this video, which is another top 10 list, my favorite top 10 songs by Bruno Mars in particular. This list was so ridiculously hard to make, and I do want to quickly say this is only Bruno Mars solo albums. I did not include Silk Sonic because I felt like it was best to just keep it Bruno Mars only. But also, I'm going to be totally honest, I was struggling so much as is that if I would have also thrown the Silk Sonic album into the mix, I would have been a complete wreck. And the beautiful thing is, I guess it's a good and a bad thing, Bruno Mars' last solo album was released in 2016, which is such a long time ago, to be honest. Because of that, though, I have had a lot of years to listen to all of his music, so this really is just like the songs that I have found myself going to over and over again through the years. Whenever I make my top 10 lists, I am not necessarily saying like musicality wise, these are the ranking of the best songs or anything. I say this for every artist, but especially for Bruno Mars. I genuinely do not think anyone could have a right or wrong answer to a top 10 list. I mean, music is subjective. Bruno Mars has such a solid and small catalog of music. It's pretty petite, honestly. So from about 29 songs, I was creating this top 10 list from, and I am going to start at number 10 and work my way to number 1. And I would love to know in the comments below how you would rank your top 10 favorite Bruno Mars songs as well. Number 10 is from Doo-Wops and Hooligans. And I will say Doo-Wops and Hooligans, for me, is probably it's like baby Bruno Mars, you know, like it was his start. And I feel like he was very much so kind of finding his groove and what he wanted to put out in the music industry. So I actually only have 2 songs from that album on this top 10. And the first one is Count on Me. It is just a cute song that has been with me through the years. I mean, it's a song that has a lot of personal meaning to me. The song just kind of like popped up a lot in my life. So there definitely is a personal attachment to it. And it is not like any type of music that Bruno Mars makes now. I mean, it is a very cute song. It's a track though that still shows how beautiful Bruno's vocals can be and a bit more on the delicate side. Sometimes when I think about present day Bruno Mars singing it, it feels a little wrong, but I still enjoy it. Number 9 is from Unorthodox Jukebox, and it is Young Girls, which was a single, I believe. I will say from this album, Bruno's singles really are my favorite songs from this album. He had such great singles on this album, but I think Young Girls was one, and I don't think it's the most popular single from this album, but what I love so much about it is this one shows a little bit more of the grit in Bruno's vocals. I think this is where you're starting to see a little bit more of the very like powerful projection on the chorus that I think he does so beautifully in his music. And it's a little bit more of I don't want to say sad tone because it's just in the music. Like the music isn't quite as bright for an up-tempo Bruno Mars song as many of them are, and I kind of like that variety in it. Number 8 is pure fun, and it is from 24 Karat Magic. That album, I will say, if I had it my way, I honestly think my entire top 10 very easily could have included that entire album. That is by far, hands down, as a whole, my favorite Bruno Mars album. But number 8 is Perm. Perm is nothing but a good time. When I remember when I first heard it and I was catching all of the lyrics, I was like in tears. I was laughing so hard. Like I thought the lyrics were just hilarious and clever. And it's just that funky side. I definitely have seen it since Perm. I mean, we're getting some of that vibe on Silk Sonic's album. I immediately think of 777. But Perm has just through the years been a go-to pump-up song for me. And I think it will remain to be that for a very long time. Number 7 is my last song for Doo-Wops and Hooligans, and this is Runaway Baby. Runaway Baby definitely was like the standout track for me from his first album. And rightfully so, because looking back now on his music he has since released, I do think Runaway Baby was kind of like preparing me for phase 2 Bruno Mars and what was to come in Unorthodox Jukebox. So I guess it makes sense that I love that song so much. It's just got a wonderful flair. And I think Bruno Mars does like very fast tempoed music so incredibly well, just as well as he can handle the ballads. So it just keeps you on your toes, and it is just a crowd pleaser. Number 6 is probably the sappiest, saddest ballad that Bruno Mars has, and it is a single, and it is a very popular song. But even though it is wildly popular, it still deserves to be in my top 10, and that is When I Was Your Man. It's a gorgeous piano ballad, and Bruno Mars has such incredible vocals. I mean, he is great at playing instruments. He is a great performer and dancer, but his vocals are so strong and on point and just ridiculously good. And the studio version of When I Was Your Man is no exception to that. And then I also saw Bruno perform that song live in his 24 Karat Magic World Tour. And it's like insane because that's a complicated song. I mean, that is a big, grand ballad that I think would be very tough to sing day in and day out. And even on tour, he performed it wonderfully. He switched it up. He added even more complex riffs and even higher notes to it. I mean, actually astounding that even while touring, he could elevate that song and make it more grand vocally. And because of that, seeing it performed live made me sit back and realize, like, just because it's a heavy radio play song doesn't mean it's not a good piece of music. And I needed that refresher, that little reminder. 'Cause I know Number 5 is from Unorthodox Jukebox, and this is Treasure. Treasure is the happy-go-lucky type of Bruno Mars song that I love and many, 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 many people in this world love. It had that first introduction for me of seeing Bruno really kind of experiment more with like kind of some more retro production, retro styling in his music, which I think clearly he does so well, like not in a making fun of or impersonating kind of a way, just in a very good, solid way. And Treasure is a single that I think, yes, it was perfect for radio play, but radio play aside, I still love listening to it on my own and singing along to it. Number 4 is 24 Karat Magic, the song. As I mentioned, I am obsessed with literally every single song from that album. So it was incredibly difficult to not include more tracks from this album. And 24 Karat Magic, I remember it was the introduction of this new album, the introduction of this new era. And when I first listened to it, I was a little surprised because I was just like, this is so different. And it was more fun. It wasn't as much like, oh, he's belting out this vocal melody. He was definitely still singing, but it was more like speak singing at times. But then I listened to it for my second time, and I was just like, I love this era of music this is reminding me of. 90s kind of R&B but slick pop sort of genre blend. Incredible. And it's so fun. The lyrics, amazing. It was the perfect song to introduce that album. I wasn't sure at first when I heard that song if it was going to be like an album that really stayed in that same wheelhouse. I was hoping it would be, and it was. So to this day, I still love that single. It's such a glittering, fun time. Number 3 is also from 24 Karat Magic, and this song, I will say, I was surprised, first of all, when it was released as a single, because even before it ever became a single, I was immediately in love with it, and that's Versace On the Floor. I think it is a wonderful throwback ballad, and it has all of the things about Bruno Mars ballads that I love, like the big grand vocals at the end and everything just like very strong vibrato and projecting out. I love the pre-chorus so much. He sounds incredible singing the pre-chorus. And then just the music production. It was just unlike anything I heard in 2016. I mean, it was a genuine throwback vibe in the absolute best way. And the music break, I think is just great in it. And the bridge just builds so beautifully. I think it's like a fabulous, cheeky, but still very touching ballad. And that's what I love about it. I mean, number 2 was almost my number 1. I don't know what it is about this song, but it is hands down one of my all-time favorite Bruno Mars songs ever. And it is from Unorthodox Jukebox, and this is the song Gorilla. Gorilla is such a mood, and the lyrics are so straightforward. It is very, very sensual. But when I first heard Gorilla, I actually didn't pay attention to the lyrics. I was paying attention to him singing. But just the music production was darker. It was moodier. And his vocals were so powerful, especially his ad-libs at the end, that I was like, I don't even care what this song is about. I just think this is so amazing to listen to. And then when I realized what the lyrics were about, I was like, you know what? It fits perfectly. Like, it is a perfect mood song. And there is a live performance of Gorilla that he performed in Europe for an award show. And it was mind-boggling when I watched it, because Bruno Mars is definitely a musician where his studio versions are superb, and then when he performs live, he takes this already incredible music and just takes it to like an insane whole other level that you didn't even know existed. And Gorilla is a song that is so wonderful as is, but then hearing it performed live, I was just like, this is astounding. Like, I cannot get enough of it. I wish I could see Gorilla performed with my own eyes, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. It's just such a cool song. And lastly, my number 1 song, and the reason why I made this number 1 is because ever since this song has been released in 2016, I have probably listened to it the most consistently out of anything minus Gorilla. I've listened to the song the most consistently, and it just always puts an absolute smile on my face, and it is Finesse. I love the vibe of Finesse. It is definitely going straight into that like pop R&B early 90s kind of sound that is so wonderful. And what I love about it is it still has really cheeky lyrics, but the vocals are right there with it. Like, it is such a fun song for me to sing along to. I love the slight shifts in the chorus and the ending. I think it is just a wonderful, perfect pop song. And I know it was a single, but it was nowhere near the level of success as like That's What I Like or 24 Karat Magic. And I personally find that surprising only because I think Finesse is just perfect pop music. I really never skip Finesse. If it comes up, I'm like, here we go. Let's sing along and have a good time no matter what mood I'm in. I just think it is a very bright and cheery song. And I love that. I mean, it's once again, like lyrically, is it this like some deep track? No, it's not. And a lot of Bruno's songs aren't necessarily like the deepest lyrically, but they're still so clever and fun. And that's what I adore about Bruno Mars, is that he brings the fun to music, but he's still such a talented musician that you still take him seriously. And I think that is very hard to pull off, and I love it. so much. Those are my top 10 most played Bruno Mars songs, not including songs from Silk Sonic because that would have been impossible. I think Bruno Mars he's kind of like he's like the pop Frank Ocean in the sense that the catalog is very small, it's very concise, but it's so good that even though it's so small, like I can't complain about it because it's all just such quality music. So please let me know in the comments what some of your favorite Bruno Mars songs are. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. And thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it until the very end. And until my next video, bye.